Something strange has been happening, hasn't it? The things that used to make sense, the routines, the people, even the goals that once felt magnetic, now seem to fall out of sync, like your life is glitching in slow motion. It's not that everything's falling apart, it's that the old reflection is fading. You feel it in your body before your mind can explain it. A subtle unease, like the mirror you've always looked into no longer shows who you are. One day, it's just a faint distortion. Then suddenly, it's everywhere. The job that used to define you feels hollow. Conversations echo but don't land. The future you've been trying to build feels like it's rejecting the blueprint. But this isn't failure. It's frequency collapse. The quiet dismantling of an identity that can't hold your next level. And it's supposed to feel disorienting. When your field updates, your mirror, your reality, has to lag for a moment before it catches up. This is where most people panic. They try to polish the old mirror, force it to reflect something it no longer can. They overanalyze, grasp for logic, or worse, think something's wrong with them. But what if the distortion is proof that it's working? What if this blurring is the quantum equivalent of a loading screen? Your consciousness re-rendering itself into a truer reflection. You didn't stumble here by accident. You were summoned to this exact moment, the in-between, where the old image collapses and the new one begins to shimmer through. The mirror is shifting. The question is, can you stay calm enough to let the new reflection form? Think of reality as a living mirror, not a flat surface reflecting light, but a conscious field reflecting vibration. Every thought, every emotional tone, every self-concept is a kind of frequency signature that the mirror rearranges itself around. It doesn't show you what you want. It shows you what you are. When your internal frequency begins to shift, when you start embodying higher coherence, letting go of old fears, daring to believe in a new version of yourself, the mirror momentarily lags. It's like a system updating while still showing fragments of the old code. You're sending out a new signal, but the reflection hasn't caught up yet. That's the stage most people misinterpret. They see the glitch and assume the manifestation failed. They panic when the reflection still shows old patterns, the silence after the message, the delayed opportunity, the same recurring triggers. But what's actually happening is quantum synchronization. The mirror is reconfiguring. Let's be precise. The observer effect isn't just a physics concept. It's a consciousness one. The moment you observe yourself differently, not as the wounded one, the waiting one, the one hoping to be chosen, you collapse a new set of probabilities. The mirror, obedient to your dominant identity, begins to dissolve what no longer matches. This is why you might lose things suddenly. Friendships, routines, even cravings. The old reflections fall away, not because you failed to maintain them, but because they were never yours to keep in this frequency. The field updates in silence first. The new pattern stabilizes before it becomes visible. And yet, this is the most dangerous moment, because when people can't see instant confirmation, they revert. They go back to the old identity just to feel safe, and the mirror, always loyal, brings the old reality back. So the test isn't whether you can manifest fast. The test is whether you can stay coherent while the mirror clears itself of the old image. Whether you can hold the vibration of, it's already updating, even when nothing looks different. Notice this. Your reflection is always a few seconds behind your signal. But what if those seconds could be shortened? If you learned how to communicate directly with the mirror field instead of waiting for proof? That's where most teachings stop short. But there's something deeper no one tells you. And that's what we're about to uncover next. There's a myth almost everyone falls for. If nothing seems to move, you must be doing something wrong. If the reflection stays the same, it means you're stuck, unworthy, or off track. But that's not how the mirror works. In quantum terms, the moment you shift your frequency, your emotional tone, your expectation, your self-concept, reality begins a recalibration sequence. Think of it like a deep refresh. The mirror doesn't instantly flash a new image. It buffers. It's translating a new internal architecture into an external scene that matches it. So if you're in a moment of silence, waiting for a message, a result, an answer, it's not punishment. It's processing. Let me show you what I mean. There's this quiet moment after you send a message, maybe to someone you care about, maybe to a potential opportunity. You check your phone, glance again, wait for that small glowing dot to appear, and when it doesn't, your heart drops. You feel invisible, rejected, disconnected. But in the mirror model, that silence isn't rejection. It's reflection latency. You just sent a new frequency into the field. one that carries a different tone than your old self. The universe, the mirror, is pausing to realign all the components that can reflect this new identity back to you. Sometimes the old connections can't mirror that higher frequency anymore, so they fade. Sometimes they take longer to recalibrate. The silence is the mirror adjusting its angle so it can reflect you more accurately. This is why forcing a response, refreshing, overanalyzing, or doubting yourself scrambles the signal. It's like smudging the mirror while it's still crystallizing the image. But if you stay calm, if you hold your new tone with steadiness instead of anxiety, you allow the reflection to complete its update. Here's the pivot most people miss. Stillness is not stagnation. It's integration. You're not waiting for something to happen. Something's already happening invisibly in the energetic architecture of your field. The delay is divine timing, the precise coordination of probability threads adjusting to match your new coherence. So the next time reality goes quiet, don't assume the mirror forgot you. It's aligning the scene where your reflection finally looks like who you've become. But here's the part that changes everything. The mirror doesn't update from thought alone. It updates from safety. You can't polish a mirror while your hands are shaking. And that's exactly what happens when your nervous system is flooded with fear, urgency, or uncertainty. The mirror, your reality field, doesn't just respond to your thoughts. It tunes itself to the electromagnetic rhythm of your body. If your body is in survival mode, the mirror reads that signal as still in threat, still in danger. Keep projecting more of what confirms instability. This is the hidden reason why affirmations sometimes fail, why visualizations glitch, why progress feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Your body and mind are broadcasting 2 different stations. The words say, I'm safe, it's working, but the heartbeat says, I'm not. Let's be precise. Coherence is the alignment between your thought, your feeling, and your body's electrical rhythm. When they harmonize, your signal to the mirror becomes clear, stable enough for reality to reorganize around it. When they conflict, the reflection flickers. You don't regulate to get what you want. You regulate to become a clean transmitter of truth. The truth that you are already safe, that the update is already happening. Try this with me for just a moment. Place your hand over your chest. Feel the rise and fall, not trying to slow it down, just witnessing. Now, imagine a soft, golden pulse under your palm, the heartbeat of your future self, steady and calm, already beyond this transition. Let your breath follow that rhythm, sinking gently. You're not chasing calm, you're remembering coherence. 30 seconds of this can change the signal you're sending. The body stops screaming for the old reflection, and the mirror, feeling the steadiness, begins to show the new image with more clarity. This is why emotional safety isn't just comfort, it's quantum hygiene. You can't broadcast abundance through a clenched jaw. You can't mirror love through shallow breath. The field reads every micro-expression, every muscular signal, every subtle heartbeat. And when all of it says, I trust the process, the mirror listens. But here's the paradox. As soon as you begin to feel safe, the field often tests it. It shows you fragments of the old reflection again, just to see if your calm is conditional. What happens in that moment determines whether your new timeline stabilizes or slips. And that's where the real transformation begins. A calm moment can change your day, but a calm identity can change your timeline. Most people treat coherence like a mood, something to achieve for a few minutes after meditating, journaling, or breathing. They touch stillness, then return to old thought patterns the moment reality flinches. But the mirror doesn't respond to temporary states. It stabilizes around identity. Think of it this way. A single calm breath is a radio pulse. An embodied calm self is a continuous broadcast. The field reorganizes around whatever signal holds longest. When you identify as the one trying to stay calm, your mirror shows effort, struggle, waiting. But when you identify as the one who is peace, who doesn't need proof to trust, your reflection obeys. The quantum mirror bends toward consistency. This is where most manifestation work stops too early. People chase feelings instead of becoming the one who naturally radiates them. They think, I'll feel safe once my situation changes, not realizing that their situation is waiting for them to become the version that safety belongs to. Your nervous system, once regulated, becomes the foundation for a new self-image, one that doesn't just visit peace but lives there. From that identity, your choices shift effortlessly. The words you speak, the things you tolerate, even the way you breathe. And then something subtle happens. The mirror begins to clear faster. You stop rehearsing for the future and start inhabiting it. The lag time between who you are and what you see shortens, because the field no longer has to catch up. It recognizes you. This is why collapsing timelines isn't about forcing quantum jumps. It's about eliminating the gap between "I hope it happens" and "I am the one it happens to." But here's the part that most people never realize. Every identity exists on a specific frequency band, like layers of light within the same mirror. You don't move toward your new life by walking. You tune into it by becoming the version who already lives there. And when you do, something extraordinary occurs. Your current reflection starts to shimmer with fragments of the future. You can literally feel the pull of a timeline that's already yours, waiting for you to step in. But what determines which timeline locks in isn't what you think. Every identity emits a frequency, and every frequency corresponds to a specific reflection of reality, a timeline. You don't chase these timelines. You broadcast into them. They're not destinations. They're mirrors waiting for recognition. Imagine walking through a hall of mirrors, each one reflecting a slightly different version of you. One mirror shows you in scarcity, the you who doubts if things will ever work. Another shows you in flow, the you who moves through life as if reality is conspiring with you. Each mirror already exists, but only one responds when you step closer with your chosen identity. This is the secret most people never hear. Timelines aren't linear. They're layered frequencies, and your embodiment acts as the tuning key. Let's bring this into something human: money pressure. You open your banking app and see a number that makes your stomach tighten. Your old identity, the one conditioned by fear, instantly activates. The mirror starts to ripple with the reflection of that fear. Overdue bills, pressure, shame. But if, in that moment, you take a breath and remember who you now are, the one who understands that the mirror is delayed feedback, not judgment, something changes. You shift timelines mid-glitch. You remind your body, this reflection is temporary. My frequency has already updated. And the mirror listens. The field begins aligning opportunities, insights, and coincidences that match your new tone. Maybe an old contact reaches out. Maybe clarity drops in about your next move. The reflection starts to reform around your new broadcast. Notice what's actually happening. The number in the account didn't shift first. You did. The outer mirror is always playing catch-up to the inner signal. Here's the key. Identity is not a costume you put on. It's a broadcast you stabilize through repetition and embodiment. Each time you hold that higher identity through a challenge, you strengthen your access to that timeline's frequency. That's how quantum leaps happen. Not by force, but by coherence. You stop being the version who tries to create and start being the version who naturally reflects creation. And once that identity locks in, the mirror reveals realities that were invisible before. Conversations, synchronicities, even strangers begin to treat you as the new frequency you've become. But how do you sustain that signal? Not just for moments, but as a living rhythm your mirror can depend on. That's where your daily toolkit comes in. Once the mirror starts updating, your job isn't to push it, it's to steady it. The reflection sharpens through rhythm, not rush. Every small embodied action becomes a calibration point for the field to lock onto. Here are the core tools I use. Simple physical anchors that tell the mirror, this signal is stable. Keep building from here. Tool 1, breath as a code. Each morning, before your mind wakes up fully, place your hand over your heart and breathe as if your inhale is polishing the mirror from the inside. On each exhale, imagine releasing static, doubt, urgency, comparison. You're not controlling the breath. You're communicating with the field through calm consistency. 2 minutes of this recodes your electromagnetic rhythm into coherence before the day begins. Tool 2, the embodied check-in. Throughout the day, pause and ask, which version of me is acting right now? Notice the posture, tone, and micro-expressions. If you catch the old identity steering, rushing, defending, trying to prove, simply shift your weight, unclench your jaw, take a slow exhale. This resets your broadcast. You return to the frequency of the one who already is. Tool 3, mirror notes. Before bed, write one observation from the day where the mirror showed evidence of your update. A conversation that flowed easier. A coincidence that felt too precise to ignore. You're not forcing gratitude. You're tracking proof of coherence. This trains your perception to notice alignment instead of absence. Tool 4, the quantum phrase. Whenever doubt surfaces, whisper this. The mirror is still catching up. It's simple, but it interrupts panic and re-anchors you in trust. The body relaxes. The field reads that ease as permission to accelerate the update. These aren't rituals of control, they're rituals of remembrance. Each one stabilizes your nervous system so the mirror can keep reflecting the upgraded identity without distortion. Now, let's seal it in. Take a breath right now, deep and steady. Imagine your reflection brightening, like a new frequency flickering fully online. If you're ready to anchor this, write in the comments, "My mirror is catching up." Let the quantum field register your declaration. Each word you type is a micro signal of embodiment, a tiny stabilizer in the shared mirror of this moment. Because from here, the reflection doesn't just match you, it multiplies you. But stability brings its own tests. The field will start showing you subtle sabotages, the hidden ways you distort your own signal. The mirror doesn't judge, but it does record. Every signal you send, even the unconscious ones, leaves a trace on its surface. And sometimes, without realizing it, we start to smudge the reflection. Not through negativity, but through subtle habits of interference. There are 3 main distortions that keep the new timeline flickering instead of locking in. Trap 1. Urgency. Urgency is the fastest way to fog the mirror. It's the nervous system saying, "I don't trust the update." When you rush, you send a mixed command. One part of you broadcasting faith, the other whispering panic. The mirror can't tell which signal to stabilize, so it mirrors both. Flashes of progress followed by abrupt slowdowns. To dissolve urgency, practice micropauses. Before each decision, take a single breath and feel your feet. You'll notice how your energy moves from scattered to rooted. The mirror responds instantly to groundedness. It reads it as authority. Trap 2. Split signals. You say you want expansion, but deep down, part of you fears losing comfort or approval. That inner contradiction splits the beam. It's like standing between 2 mirrors, watching your reflection fragment into endless copies. The field doesn't know which one is true, so it keeps looping partial outcomes. Half successes, half relationships, half clarity. The antidote is coherence of intent. Speak your desire out loud, then pause and notice where your body tenses. That tension marks the hidden resistance. Breathe into it until it softens. You're not convincing yourself, you're integrating the split. Trap 3. Over-control. This is the most deceptive sabotage. The belief that if you can just manage every detail, you'll ensure the outcome. But over-control is like trying to polish the mirror with sandpaper. The more you grip, the duller it gets. Control comes from fear of chaos, yet the quantum mirror thrives on allowance. Reality can't reconfigure while you're micromanaging the angles. Instead, replace control with precision. Set your intention, take aligned action, then release the result. Let the mirror interpret. Each time you dissolve one of these distortions, your reflection clears faster. The image becomes crisp, responsive, alive. But here's the paradox. Once the mirror finally starts reflecting your coherence, you must learn how to live inside it, how to integrate this frequency not just during rituals, but in motion, while walking, eating, texting, existing. Because coherence that only exists in stillness will dissolve in movement. And that's exactly where we're going next. The real mastery isn't reached during meditation. It's revealed while you're waiting in line, replying to messages, opening your phone, and noticing whether your energy leaks or stays aligned. The mirror is always listening, not just to your rituals, but to your rhythm. Coherence isn't meant to be a special state. It's a living pulse, one that should travel with you into movement, conversation, and decision. You're not visiting alignment, you're wearing it. Start small. When you walk as the one whose reality is already updated. Each step sends a signal through your nervous system. I'm arriving where I already belong. When you eat, don't rush. Feel the field absorbing your gratitude through the simple act of presence. When you scroll, notice whether your breath tightens or stays open. That's the mirror giving feedback in real time, showing you whether you're still broadcasting your true frequency or borrowing someone else's. Every moment of awareness restabilizes your timeline. You stop reacting to life and start communicating with it. Your gestures, your tone, even your pauses become forms of data the mirror reads. There's a secret few ever grasp. Reality doesn't change when you perform your rituals. It changes when you maintain your signal through interruption. Anyone can feel aligned in silence. But who are you when your phone buzzes, when traffic slows, when someone challenges your truth? That's when the field measures your stability. This is what walking coherence means. You become predictable to the mirror, not in behavior, but in energy. It trusts your signal because you no longer fluctuate every time your external reflection lags. Integration doesn't mean perfection, it means constancy. You're not trying to be high vibe all day. You're allowing the dips and rises without self-judgment, staying aware that even the wobble is part of recalibration. When you start living like this, something miraculous occurs. The border between inner and outer blurs. You'll speak a sentence and feel the field echo it. You'll think of someone and they'll message. You'll need something and it appears without strain, because you're no longer standing in front of the mirror, waiting. You're moving inside it. Every choice becomes a new brushstroke in the reflection. But there's another layer waiting. When this coherence doesn't just shape your days, but begins expanding into every domain of your life, relationships, creativity, health, purpose, all start mirroring your highest broadcast. And when that happens, the mirror stops being a reflection altogether. It becomes a portal. Once coherence becomes your baseline, the mirror stops showing isolated updates. It begins multiplying reflections across your entire life. What once felt compartmentalized, love, money, creativity, purpose, starts sinking under one tone, alignment. This is how true expansion unfolds. You don't manifest one thing at a time. You broadcast a frequency that reorganizes everything that vibrates with it. Relationships shift first. The more you embody steadiness, the more honest the mirror becomes. Some people will mirror your expansion and grow beside you. Others will fade out because their reflection belongs to an older layer of light. It's not rejection. It's resonance sorting itself. When you stop chasing connection from emptiness, the mirror reflects coherence through presence. Then creativity begins to pulse again. Imagine this. You sit at your desk, staring at the blank page or unopened project file. The old you would spiral into doubt, forcing productivity or escaping into distraction. But the new you remembers. The mirror can't reflect clarity while you're tense. So you lean back, breathe, and feel your nervous system recalibrate. And then it happens. A phrase, a melody, a concept surfaces, carrying that unmistakable frequency of truth. It feels less like inspiration and more like remembering something you'd already created elsewhere. That's what creativity and coherence feels like. Not invention, but reception. Your body follows. The more you live from trust, the more your cells interpret that signal as safety. Digestion smooths, breath deepens. The immune system mirrors the inner permission to rest and expand. Your biology begins reflecting your belief. Purpose, too, becomes effortless. You no longer search for it as a mission outside yourself. You realize purpose isn't something you do. It's the tone you emit. The work, the relationships, the opportunities are just mirrors responding to that tone. This is why life starts feeling orchestrated. You think of someone and they appear. You walk into a space and sense it rearranging to accommodate who you've become. The field isn't random, it's responsive. And yet, even in this expansion, there's one more threshold few dare to cross. Because at a certain point, you realize the mirror isn't just reflecting you, it's made of you. The field itself starts to whisper something deeper, that your consciousness isn't observing reality from the outside anymore. It's generating it from within, and that realization, that divine inversion, changes everything. There's a point on this journey when the mirror begins to fade, not because it stops working, but because you finally see what it's made of. All along, you thought reality was a reflection of you, but then the lines blur. You begin to sense something deeper. The mirror and the one observing it are not separate. The reflection, the observer, the glass, all are made of the same conscious light. This is where the game of manifestation dissolves into remembrance. You realize you were never sending signals into the quantum field. You are the field, momentarily pretending to forget its own vastness, just to experience the joy of remembering. Here's the paradox. Surrender doesn't weaken your power. It reveals its source. When you stop trying to force the reflection, you notice it's always been moving with you, like waves obeying the tide of your inner being. Surrender is not giving up control. It's aligning with the intelligence that's been orchestrating every detail since the beginning. Think of light meeting a mirror. No effort, no delay, instant reflection. That's what happens when your inner frequency merges with divine coherence. There's no you sending and universe responding, just one seamless radiance. You start to feel it everywhere, in the quiet pauses between thoughts, in the warmth behind your chest, in the way coincidences stop being surprising. Life stops being a sequence of tests and becomes a conversation, consciousness recognizing itself through form. This is what ancient mystics tried to describe as union, What quantum physicists hint at when they say observation and reality are entangled. You've crossed the threshold where the mirror turns transparent, revealing the infinite light beneath. And in that transparency, peace stops being an achievement. It becomes your default state, the hum of divine rhythm that was always there beneath the static. The beauty is that you don't have to stay enlightened. You just have to remember you already are, each time you forget. That's how surrender keeps power alive. It keeps you fluid, adaptable, luminous. Because when you no longer chase alignment, you embody it. And in that embodiment, the mirror of reality bends effortlessly around you. But there's still one final step, the closing of the loop. The moment where everything you've learned folds back into a single truth you can live by. That's what we seal next. If you've made it this far, something inside you already knows the old frequency isn't dying. It's being absorbed into the light of who you've become. The blurring, the silence, the disorientation, none of it was a mistake. It was your old reflection, folding itself back into coherence. You've spent so long staring into the mirror, waiting for it to show you who you are. But now you understand. It could only ever show what you believed yourself to be. And the instant you stopped forcing the image, the real one began to emerge. Not a fixed picture, but a living presence. This is what the collapse truly means. The mirror isn't breaking. It's refining its accuracy. It's shedding distortions that can't match your current frequency. Every time you stayed calm in uncertainty, every time you refused to shrink back into the old version, the field registered your steadiness as a new command. This is who I am now. And reality obeyed. You may notice it subtly. The ease in your breath, the conversations that flow, the synchronicities that cluster like breadcrumbs on your path. The mirror reflects from the inside out now. You no longer wait for life to validate your identity. Life takes its cues from you. Because the ultimate secret of the quantum mirror is this: you were never the reflection. You were always the light. So as your old frequency collapses, don't rush to rebuild. Don't try to repaint the fragments. Stand in the glow of the new image forming. Let the mirror clear in its own rhythm. You'll see it, the shimmer of a life that already recognizes you. Pause, breathe, look around. Every face, every sound, every color is responding to your frequency right now. If you're ready to mark this turning point, to let the mirror know you're done waiting for proof, write in the comments, "The mirror has cleared." Let that be your declaration to the field, the signal that your new reflection is live. Because this isn't the end of your shift. It's the first clear glimpse of the self that's been broadcasting from your future all along.